What do you want to do? Okay, we are back on the First and Goal podcast. Sorry we missed last week, but I'm here with Jacob. How you doing today?
I would be doing a lot better if Gonzaga would stop sucking so badly. But doing pretty well other than that.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a lot of news in the NFL over the last week, especially with free agency. A couple of big trades. What would you like to first get into?
Let's talk about some winners. Let's talk about some losers, and then we'll move from there. So, Sam, why don't you start? Who do you have as winners right now? Actually, let's start with the losers. Who do you have as the big losers currently in NFL free agency, the NFL offseason?
Yeah. I'm just kind of looking through real quick. I mean, they didn't have really much to work with, but the New Orleans Saints, I think, have to be one of the losers. They were in on Deshaun Watson. He said he would have waived his no trade clause, and they brought back Jameis Winston on a 2-year, $28 million deal. Brought in Kentavious Street and signed Marcus May while losing Marcus Williams. I think this team's in a clear rebuild mode, and with no cap room and really not a lot of draft picks styled up or stockpiled up, I think it's going to be a rough couple years for the New Orleans Saints.
They also lost Teron Armstead. Can't forget about him as well.
Yeah. And they're going to have to re-sign either Cam Jordan or Marcus Davenport to a contract, I feel, pretty soon here. So I think it's going to be pretty rough for them.
And I think there's still some uncertainty on what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara.
And Michael Thomas.
And Michael Thomas. Yeah, you're right. So we'll kind of see what goes on there. I agree. Saints are a pretty big loser. Another big loser is the rest of the AFC. If you're not in the AFC West, you're probably not going to get a wild card spot unless you win your division, obviously. So AFC West very well could have 4 playoff teams by the end of this year, possibly 4 teams with over 10 wins. So we'll see what goes on there. The AFC West got a lot stronger. The AFC in general kind of losing an edge. If you don't have a franchise quarterback by now, you might as well pack it in for the season.
Yeah. It's going to be a dogfight for that number 1 seed. And speaking of that,
what's another loser you got?
Well, the Chiefs trading away Tyreek Hill yesterday.
See, I disagree. I think they're winners.
I mean, they don't have to pay him, but then you bring in, I mean, I like Juju, but he's possession / slot receiver, big slot receiver, which I understand. You still have Mecole Hardman. You bring in MVS, who sure he can stretch the field, but he can't catch a football.
They did lose Byron Pringle, which, I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm a Bears fan. I'm saying this because he actually was, I believe, 3rd in separation per route ran. So, I mean, he did gain separation pretty easily, something Mahomes probably needed this year. So losing Byron Pringle, this can all get reversed, though, because I know they are in talks with the Seahawks to hopefully acquire either DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. I think both those guys will get traded by the end of this year or by the end of this offseason. We'll see what happens there. If they get a guy like DK and then you have DK, Kelsey, and Juju and Mecole Hardman, I don't think you really care that you lost Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and they have enough draft picks to go for it. Another team that was mentioned on the Pat McAfee show for that was the Packers are also in talks with the Seahawks over DK and Tyler Lockett, which
now, if they can trade them as winners right now of the offseason?
I think if you can bring back your entire defense, which they looked very good against that 49ers team. It wasn't the reason they lost that playoff game.
No.
And you've lost Zadarius Smith, but he was out injured all year. So I liked what I saw from Gary and Preston Smith. Preston Smith's an Iron Man. I think he's missed like maybe 2 total games his entire NFL career.
Yep. I think, yeah, it's a low number.
And if you can get DK Metcalf for something like maybe, I don't know what it would be worth. I think you could probably get him for like a 2nd and a 4th.
Yeah.
Just because he's not on the level of Adams or Tyreek Hill.
Correct. Yeah.
And
I think
yeah,
I think there's a lot of guys that can step up into that spot. Obviously they'll probably be drafting a first round wide receiver too. So
yeah. But I liked what the Packers have done this offseason. I mean, you bring back Rodgers, you lower his cap hit, or else you really would have been screwed this offseason.
yeah, another winner, because I guess we're switching over to winners, the 2023 Chicago Bears. This year, don't be surprised, Bears fans, if we are worse than the Detroit Lions, and we come in last place and we have a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. I'm saying that now. I don't have much hope for this team. I do think that the addition of Byron Pringle is going to be significant. I do think that Lucas Patrick, as much as he was kind of a spot starter for the Packers, I think he fits into the scheme. I think he kind of brings leadership to that offensive line that kind of lacked anyone with a winning mentality. Does come from a pretty good organization up north, and can kind of hopefully start teaching some of these guys at least something about how to win.
Yeah.
Another winner I have, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady retired, gave everyone a heart attack. He's now unretired, and now they are possibly top 2, top 3 to win the NFC. So in a very weak NFC South, by the way. So if Brady wants to probably sit a couple games this season to kind of gain his health, because he is 43 years old, I don't think there's going to be any issue. I think that they could even still win some of these games because that roster is stacked. Don't be surprised if they draft a first round running back.
Yeah. I think they did bring back playoff Lenny.
I thought he went to the Patriots.
No, he resigned, I believe, for like a 3-year, like $21 million contract.
Well, then they might not be drafting a first round running back. I also hear that one of Tom Brady's old friends named Julian Edelman is contemplating coming out of retirement, which if he does that, he is not under the Patriots' control and can sign wherever he would like to sign.
Yep, it's 3 years, 21, max value of 24 million. They also got another former Patriot in Shaq Mason for a 5th round pick.
That was true, yeah. So
But that replaces Kappa.
I can only imagine if Edelman comes out of retirement, he's only going to play in one city. That city is going to be Tampa Bay, where he can be a every couple of downs players, doesn't need to play all the time because he'll be either the 3rd or 4th best wide receiver on that team.
Yeah. Another winner that I have for free agency, Jacob may not like this, the Los Angeles Chargers. I really liked what they did, bringing back Mike Williams, bringing in Gerald Everett, bringing in Sebastian Joseph Day, kind of helping that interior D-line, acquiring Khalil Mack for only a 2nd and a 6th, and also bringing in the top corner on the market in J.C. Jackson.
We'll kind of get into it with a little bit later with who has the most pressure now. I have some thoughts on that. Any other winners or losers? I can't really think of any. Matt Stafford obviously bet on himself and won. He's an individual winner. Devontae Adams and actually the entire wide receiver market, they're all winners.
The wide receiver market in general. When Christian Kirk's getting 4 years, 72 million with a max value of 84 million, wide receivers are getting paid.
Yeah, so I mean it was a crazy amount. So we'll just say wide receivers in general are winners. All right, well, let's go into the next thing. Now that we're kind of into phase 2 or phase 3 of free agency, mostly phase 2, who now has the most pressure on them going into the season?
I'd say the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
When you trade 3 first-round picks, a 3rd rounder, 2 fourths, and sign Deshaun Watson to a 5-year, $230 million contract that's fully guaranteed, they need to win playoff games. They need to get to an AFC championship game in the next, I'd say, 2 to 3 years. And if it's not, this trade is a failure.
I'm going to say the guy with the most pressure on his shoulders now. It's my boy, Justin Herbert. If you don't make it to the playoffs, there's no excuse. You now definitely cannot blame a defense. The offensive line got a little worse, but that's because they had to make money now to get all these moves in. So if the offensive line is not as good and that's what they end up blaming, sorry, Chargers fans, this is not the MLB. You can't build this perfect roster with all the money in the world, even though you are LA. Justin Herbert has the most pressure on his shoulders because there's no reason, if he is a top 5 quarterback, like many people believe, that he is not even making the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot about this guy as a winner that you bring up, Herbert, but Joe Burrow.
Why? What makes you think Joe Burrow is a winner?
They brought in Lyle Collins on a 3-year deal, Alex Kapp on a 3-year deal, and Ted Karras on a 3-year deal. That O-line should be much improved.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I agree. Yeah, I mean, they got much improved this offseason and they needed it. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow shouldn't be sacked as many times, and I think that's going to help Joe Burrow's numbers too. So
Yeah.
watch out for Joe Burrow to be even better this season.
I'd say another guy that has a lot of pressure on him is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He's playing this year, I think, for a new contract. And I don't know what he's going to be asking for if the Ravens can come to the table and say, yeah, you haven't won a playoff game.
Right.
With
He's got
this,
some pressure on
let's
him.
be honest, a stacked roster.
Yeah. I'm trying to think any coaches other than Brandon Staley, because it's the same exact reason that Herbert has pressure. What coaches have pressure now on them?
I'd say
I would say Stefanski probably, but again, because of the same reasons that the Browns in general would lose or have as much pressure.
I'd say a first-year coach that has a little bit of pressure is Mike McDaniel in Miami.
Yeah, true. Because they brought in a lot of pieces to build around Tua, which this will be more, I think, of a proving year. Is Tua the real deal? If he's not, I think they'll move on. I think they'll go get a rookie quarterback next year and hope for the best. But they got him as many weapons as you can imagine.
Yeah,
Down there in
Gesicki,
Miami.
Cedric Wilson, brought back Preston Williams, Tyreek Hill.
Tag
That running
Gesicki.
back room is going to be improved with Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. Brought in I don't know if he's going to play right tackle or left tackle for him just because Tua's a lefty. Tyron Armstead, Connor Williams should improve them at guard. So yeah, I think Tua or Mike McDaniels might have a decent amount of pressure on them after all these moves.
Definitely. I'll also say the Cowboys, just because they are the Cowboys. And with all the offseason noise, as soon as Dak did the play right down the middle, they did not get better this offseason by any means. They do lose Amari Cooper, which I know a lot of people are saying, well, thank God his money's off the books. True, but he was also your best receiver, no matter what you want to say.
So that money wouldn't have needed to come off the books if you're not paying Zeke $18 million to regress at this point.
Exactly. So we'll see. Cowboys have a ton of pressure on them.
Yeah.
What else? NFL news. Is there anything that we need to cover right away? Other than Mile High Stadium.
Yeah, didn't you say it started on fire today?
So Mile High Stadium, I don't know what the damage is yet. I don't think that number has been released by the time we release this podcast. Apparently substantial damage. So that kind of raises the question, are they going to be able to play games by this fall? I would imagine so. But again, I got to wait till probably tomorrow to figure out how much damage has really been done. If they can't, I don't know what the contingency plan is with them being in Denver.
Yeah.
I don't know where they would be able to play because as far as I believe, University of Denver doesn't have a stadium. I guess they could go to Boulder for a season. That's not too incredibly far. Which them playing at University of Colorado would be pretty cool, but it is obviously not Mile High.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a little bit less of an advantage for them playing in that thin air.
Yeah, I do wish that the stadium that burnt down was Soldier Field, would have just kind of made the move to Arlington Heights a little bit quicker. So, with that being said, anything else news-wise that has to be covered? As far as I know, everyone has kind of behaved themselves. I don't believe anyone's gone to jail lately, which is always a good sign in the NFL. Maybe not so much the UFC right now being true, but
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Anything on NFL.com right now? Nope. No one's nothing big. Just pretty much Kyler Murray saying that he's not really too worried about my future as a Cardinal with that him wanting an extension. I also
yeah,
found this out today from the NFL Network. Did you know this is the same agent as Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim?
I did not know that.
So he's the same agent as the head coach and the general manager of the Cardinals.
That is kind of wild.
Like, I don't know how that would work with like your agents. Obviously, your agent's trying to do the best for everyone,
Right.
but I guess it kind of helps that he has a personal relationship with the GM and the head coach, trying to get him a little bit more money. But then he can also go to Kyler and be like, I mean, they're trying to build this team. And if you took a little bit less, we could fill out the roster a little bit more around you. So I just think that's going to be weird, especially in contract talks.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like just going back and forth, which is so strange to me actually now that I think about it. But whatever, we'll see what happens. Another guy also with pressure, I really do think, just because he is in this market, Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Even though the expectation is that they're not going to be good and we're not going to really get many wins, I think the city still thinks that they can be competitive. I don't think anyone has them really making the playoffs, which if you do, stop that. Not going to happen. If your wish is that they just play competitively and the game isn't a blowout every single week, I think that's reasonable. I do. I think that
More news. Second Texas grand jury declines to indict Browns QB Deshaun Watson on criminal charges.
Yeah, I think, again, sounds crazy, but if you go back to early podcasts, I did kind of say, what are the chances that this is all fake and Deshaun Watson kind of formed this? As far as I know, he's not really paying any money for it. I don't know. It's looking more and more like that could be a case.
So it doesn't look like he's going to be criminally charged for it, but the NFL can still look into it. He might get a suspension with it, as well as he still is facing those 22 civil lawsuits.
But we'll also see what happens, because the league may have already kind of come to the agreement like, hey, this is one of our biggest stars. He did this an entire season already. Do we need to punish him more? He did get paid, so that part's not great, but we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? Just because I think it's going to be, the NFL has stepped up in the last couple of years on, especially when it involves women with their players. The punishment has gotten a little bit more severe than what they had when, like Greg Hardy or Kareem Hunt were dealing with their issues.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I mean, obviously this league gets a lot of backlash already, so we'll see what happens. I think that's about it for me, really.
yeah, I'm just trying to look through anything that's.
Gonzaga lost, by the way. So, fuck Gonzaga.
Ruined my bracket.
Was that your winner?
One of them, yeah.
This team sucks.
Ooh. I mean, a little bit of other news. Guess who's the Thursday night Amazon host?
Oh yeah, we didn't go over that stuff. Al Michaels and who else?
Kirk Herbstreit are
Yes,
doing
that's
Thursday
right.
night on Prime Video.
I'm pretty sure I was the one that told you that.
And then isn't it Joe Buck and
and Aikman on Monday Night Football,
So
which
I wonder
means
what they're gonna do on
Monday Night
NBC.
Football is going to get good games again.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder who they're gonna get for Fox and NBC. I think obviously Romo's still under contract. I don't know what Nance's contract is.
I don't think he'll leave CBS because of
He
college
gets the Masters.
basketball, the Masters, actually all the golf coverage. Really, I think he's locked in. I don't think he'll leave.
I mean, NBC gets the golf coverage too.
Yeah, but they don't get like the major tournaments and everything. So I
Yeah.
think that's really what he wants. I don't think he wants to have to do like the Thursday morning coverage where no one was watching.
Okay. Yeah. I just wonder what obviously Nance is a little bit different situation than Joe Buck, which I think it's kind of him being off of MLB postseason is going to be a little bit missed by some people
Me.
because, yeah, I think he's a way better baseball analyst than he is a football analyst.
But I also think he's kind of gotten to an age where he's done everything. I mean, just going off baseball. We don't have to go off the NFL because he's still doing it. Baseball, he saw the Red Sox end their curse. He saw the White Sox end their curse. He saw his hometown Cardinals win multiple times. He saw the Cubs lose their curse. He's seen a Yankees championship, which really who hasn't, unless you just started in the last 10 years. He saw, I think he was announcing already when the first World Series after 9/11, which was, I believe, a Yankees World Series, if I'm not mistaken, in 2001. So, I mean, he's seen some incredible baseball moments. I think he's kind of done with it. Baseball playoffs are obviously a grueling process because they play just about every day. So I think it's kind of like a retirement move. Like this is his retirement job. He gets to what is really the biggest network on the biggest stage. Now that Sunday Night Football has kind of lost its charm with no Al Michaels. It's still going to be big,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling Monday Night Football is going to be the new night that every single game goes to.
Yeah, I wonder who they're going to get to pair with Collinsworth, even if Collinsworth is going to be the other guy on it.
I could see Collinsworth stepping down too.
Yeah. So I think I think we've gotten so used to who's doing what, except for Monday Night Football as soon as Gruden, which, if you're Fox or
Gruden and Tirico was the best
yeah,
of our time growing up.
for Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Tirico was really good. I loved
Yeah.
Tirico.
Which I think NBC, if you're NBC, I mean, people forget about stuff so like that right nowadays. So do you think about bringing Gruden and Tirico in for NBC? Because Tirico's under contract with NBC.
Or is it going to be Tirico and Collinsworth? That might make more sense. I do think that there would be an issue with them bringing back Gruden just on a PR stunt. I wouldn't care. You wouldn't care, but there would be a lot of people in the world that would. NBC could see their ratings go down quite a bit. So I think just for the sake of that, they don't want to lose that.
Okay, but I feel like the people that would care aren't the people watching Sunday Night Football every week.
I think that they still wouldn't take the risk.
Yeah, especially with it being NBC.
So I do think Tirico makes the most sense to step into that spot. As for Fox, I think that they're in a tough situation because as much as I do like Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson as a team, I don't think that's number one pair of quality.
Yeah, I agree. You want to know who might, if you're them? Simpson, Ian Eagle.
Yeah.
I think they pair really well together. And I think, honestly, they're the best number two in the business.
So there is one guy though that actually had a job with Fox and then made a return to the NFL. So he didn't start working for Fox, but I do think he is such a big star and personality that it would make sense. I do think people would tune in just because he is calling the game, kind of in that Tony Romo role. He is known for being a little bit carefree at times. He might smoke a cigarette, even though he's got diabetes, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't smoke cigarettes. But Jay Cutler makes a lot of sense to possibly take that spot.
You think Jay can be? I think it might take a little bit because obviously Romo wasn't. Actually, Romo was put into number one, wasn't he, right away?
Right away. And I honestly think Jay Cutler is such like so funny without trying, while also really knowing the game clearly because he played quarterback for how many years. I think it would make sense for Fox because people will tune in just because it is Jay Cutler. We saw very Cavalieri. That show failed as soon as Cutler was off. I'm pretty sure more than half of that audience was just football fans trying to tune in to see what Jay Cutler was saying on the show. He was on for like 5 minutes of every hour-long episode, but people loved when Jay Cutler was there. The only highlights I saw of that show on social media from like actual like social media People magazine type accounts was Jay Cutler quotes. So I think he just has that it factor. He wasn't a Super Bowl winning quarterback, as we all know, but I think he would be a great number one. The
Yeah,
question would be, who do you pair him with?
you'd have to pair him kind of with somebody.
Someone
Yeah, I don't know who
knowledgeable.
you'd pair him with.
Who does Fox College?
Uh Gus Johnson.
And he does NFL games.
Yeah,
If you had Gus Johnson and Jay Cutler, that might be the most entertaining two people.
yeah, I love Gus Johnson's very good. Another guy who might be able to step into that football role. I mean, I think he's contracted now with ESPN, but he's probably the most famous guy you can get, and he's probably has the most knowledge out of anyone coming into the analyst booth. Peyton Manning.
Yes, but it also sounds like he's still trying to buy the Denver Broncos. So if he becomes a team owner, he's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
No, I think Jay Cutler and Gus Johnson would make a lot of sense for Fox.
Yeah, because obviously I don't think Breeze can do it.
I think Breeze is in a perfect role with him and Tony Dungy talking NBC pregame.
Yeah.
I believe, like, isn't Liam McHugh still part of that squad?
I believe so. I don't know.
Or did
No,
he leave?
it's
did he leave with TNT when the NHL left? Because he's more of a hockey guy anyway.
No, it's what's her name? Maria
Taylor?
The one that left ESPN.
Is it Maria Taylor?
Yeah, Maria Taylor, the one that left ESPN because of Rachel Nichols.
Yeah. Pam Oliver's gone too. That's hard. Not Pam Oliver. Michelle Tafoya. She's done too. That's hard.
Yeah.
I miss Michelle Tafoya already. Hasn't even been a season. Hasn't even started.
Her and Aaron Andrews are definitely the two best like sideline reporters.
Michelle Tafoya is like the person that you want as your perfect neighbor. I just feel like she would be the type that just has a random couple beers in the backyard. And she's like, hey, come on over. And then you just like can shoot the shit. I think it'd be awesome to be neighbors with Michelle Tafoya.
Yeah, I mean, with all this movement with going on, you guys can comment down below on who you'd like to see paired. If you like
Definitely.
any of ours that have we've mentioned, or anyone else that we're not thinking of. Like, obviously, we're going the quarterback route just because we feel like they're the best, knowing the game and being able to and most of them are leaders in the locker room when they are a quarterback, so talking with people. But
I don't know about Cutler, but you're right.
I mean, trying to think of other people that could do it. He'd only be a college Brady Quinn.
Yeah, he's got the perfect job with Notre Dame. He's not leaving that.
Well, he's on Fox pregame.
Oh, he's on Fox? Wait, who?
Yeah, he's Fox pregame with Urban.
Who does the Notre Dame game with Tirico?
Breeze.
Oh, yeah, it's Breeze now. Yeah, he's not going to be the Sunday Night Football guy, too.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is like the perfect job, even though that makes zero sense for him to be there since he's a Purdue Boilermaker. I would have much rather seen like an actual Purdue guy, but I get it.
You mean Notre Dame?
Or yeah, sorry, an actual Notre Dame guy do Notre Dame games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who they could actually bring in.
for Notre Dame.
Well, Notre Dame, I think Brees Tarico works fine.
It does. Well, I mean, also Notre Dame hasn't had great quarterbacks coming out the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So,
Like, who are you going to have? Jimmy Clausen?
yeah, I don't want that. Is he still in the
Sean
league?
Kaiser?
Well, Ian Book might have a career soon.
Yeah. Ian Book.
Ian Book actually could make sense.
I
But
think he needs a couple more. I think he needs to get a little older.
but
I
he's
think he needs to
he's
hit that
also an
like.
active player on an NFL roster. So I don't
Well,
think
yeah. I think.
he's not
Well,
a
even
very
if he's
good
one,
active player, but he is an active player.
yeah, if he did want to be an analyst, I think he'd have to hit that around a little bit younger than Brady Quinn.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for really the Fox team, I think that's the only one mostly in question. Also, I guess if there's Sunday night football questions, if you want one of those guys to step in, or if you think that Collinsworth is out, post your predictions. We'll kind of comment on them. And then I believe that's pretty much everything. What are your predictions for this week? What do you think's gonna happen?
Uh,
One
this
bold
is a,
prediction. Let's
this is
go
a
with that.
crazy offseason. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look through who actual rumors, which some of these are just coming out of nowhere. But I guess kind of bold prediction. I think the Seahawks completely blow it up and they move any veteran players they can. So I think you'll see DK and Tyler Lockett both on the move.
Okay. Within the next week, I think Tyrann Mathieu is going to sign. And I think it's either going to be with the Bears or he's going to go to a team on the East Coast, possibly even like the Giants, because I think that he's looking for money. I don't think he cares about rings with the Bears. He has a relationship with Poles, not Foles, with Poles. And I just think that it would be pretty much a guaranteed captain spot right away. And you kind of start building this defense a little bit more around him, Jalen Johnson, Roquan, Al-Quadin Muhammad. Kidding. Don't build around him. I'm sure he'll be okay, but he's not the type of long-term guy. But yeah, I think you start going around those three guys and kind of hope that Tyrann Mathieu maybe can play a little bit more coverage and have Eddie Jackson return to the center field role that he excelled in. And we'll see what this defense can do. But
You want to know where he'd be perfect?
where
In a Bill Belichick system.
I just don't think they'll pay. That's what stops me from saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's made his money in his career.
Yeah,
so
but I think he
know.
wants to make money. I don't think he really cares about the championship because he's done that. Been there, done that. I think if he truly cared, I think he would just go to like the AFC West.
They brought in Justin Reed.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying maybe he goes to Denver. I don't know. Maybe he goes to Oakland or not Oakland, Vegas. I think there's options for him. I don't think he's going to be a free agent very long. Any surprise cuts you see coming up?
Well, since teams had to be under the salary cap, I think by the 14th, I don't see much. It is the 16th, I think, but I don't really see any surprise cuts coming. All the roster bonuses have already been paid out.
I mean, it's not going to probably be many cuts now until June 1st.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Robert Quinn, love you, buddy, but you need to get traded. I don't know what's holding this up. I'm hoping that the plan is that they just trade him on draft day when something attractive comes up. But I don't understand why he's still on this roster. It actually really confuses me because if you really wanted him off the roster just for anything, you would cut him this season so that way you can still save money for the 2023 team. And that seems to not be the issue. So not sure why you'd have Robert Quinn at his age on the Bears roster, kind of soaking up.
Especially when you're in a rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, like coming off a season with, I believe, 18 and a half sacks. So, like, why is he still here? Like, someone needs him, right?
Well,
Like,
maybe they've gotten offers for him. It's just not what they think his value is.
at first, I thought he was going to be worth a first round pick. After seeing what some of these guys go for, honestly, I'll just take a fourth and a fifth. Get him off the books. What are we doing? Like, I'm not even asking for a lot. Actually, wait, would be the last question, and I swear it's the last one. Baker Mayfield, where's he going?
So I think one spot closed up or two spots closed up for him. Granted, I think he might be a little bit better at this point than either one of them, with Matt Ryan going to Indy and Carson Wentz going to the Commanders.
Marcus Mariota went to the Falcons. I don't know if you want to consider that closed now.
Yeah, I like Mariota as I mean, he's a serviceable bridge quarterback. I think it's going to take a team that, because Baker's going to want to get paid. Baker's wanting to get paid. I guess he's asking for a lot of money.
Honestly, as he should. This last season was not Baker Mayfield. It was injured Baker Mayfield. He played through a lot of injuries to try to get this team to a playoff spot. The year before, they got to the playoffs, won a playoff game. Baker was awesome. There was very high expectations because of that for this season, and he got injured in week 6. Going into the week 6 game, they were 3-2.
But yeah, so if you're someone like the Seahawks, because I guess the Browns are also asking for a first round pick for him.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anyone's going to be paying a first round pick when you're going to have to pay him too.
Right.
He's not on that Russell Wilson, that Deshaun Watson level. I think he's probably in that maybe 15 to 25 level quarterback, depending on who
Yeah,
he
he's
has.
outside the top 10. He's definitely outside the top 10.
Yeah. And obviously, any of those guys are pretty interchangeable depending on which opponent they're playing that week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe like a team like Seattle, maybe a team like New Orleans is like, we have 18. We don't like any of the quarterbacks in this class. We can take a 1-year flyer on him and see if he's anything. Or if a team like Miami doesn't believe in Tua, which I don't know, if you're not believing in Tua, then moving on to Baker.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me. I think another two teams maybe, just to kind of keep an eye out for San Fran. It depends on how well they think that Trey Lance has really progressed. Could just bring it in just to kind of have a battle in camp. The other
I'd
option,
rather have Jimmy G.
yeah, Jimmy G's another one. I don't know where he's gonna end up. The other option that, I mean, Bears fans are gonna really hate me for this. The Chicago Bears. Realistically, Justin Fields didn't learn much from Matt Nagy. He may have learned a little bit, but this is a completely different scheme now. This is a whole different team. He also has still 0 O-line in front of him. We're going to send him out to get murdered. So, like, why do that? Then if you're also the Bears, maybe you're not going to trade a first-round pick because we don't, first off, have one. I also don't think it'll take a first-round pick. I think it could take a second, maybe a third. You trade for Baker at some point. Someone's going to get injured this season. They're going to need a quarterback. Now we've had Justin Fields continue to learn the offense, continue to learn how to play in the NFL, just for a couple more weeks behind a real QB1 in my mind. And then you ship off Baker, you get something in return. You say, hey, good luck. Go try to win a Super Bowl with Team XYZ. And you now put Justin Fields in a lot better spot because middle of the season, he's learned the playbook. He's been able to practice with the guys. He's studying with Luke Getsy. He's got the quarterback room kind of going. He's the young guy that's pushing everyone. I don't see any issue with getting Baker here.
Another team, I think this is the final one, is another NFC South, the Carolina Panthers.
I
if
have
they
one.
don't go quarterback at 6.
I do have one more. Detroit Lions. How much do you believe in Jared Goff?
I mean, I don't believe in Jared Goff, but I think him and Baker are pretty similar players.
You also have a pretty late first round pick from the Rams.
Yeah, I don't think you're trading that though. I think you already have a bridge quarterback in Goff.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe he just needed that change of scenery. Not saying the Lions are giving him a lot more talent than what the Browns did, but could end up being a lot better for him.
I don't know. I don't mind the Lions' talents. I think if they can get another receiver in there, Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't look bad. DeAndre Swift has looked pretty decent. I think they have a better tight end than anything he's had in Cleveland and TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
And he has pretty good tackles in Decker and Sewell.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens this offseason. I think there's still a lot of uncertainties with a lot of guys.
Yeah. Also, I think him and Dan Baker and Dan Campbell together would be great.
You think it'll be fun?
Baker with the commercials and Dan Campbell yelling about eating kneecaps.
Almost be miserable. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be fun this offseason.
Plus, imagine a commercial when Baker's moved about him moving out of
yeah,
the
it'll
dog
be him.
pound.
Truthfully, if he moves to Chicago, you could make an entire commercial about him moving into Arlington Heights. And it would work so well. So we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna be a fun week.
This has been a crazy off season.
Yeah.
Honestly, the craziest I've ever remembered. The NBA or the NFL is kind of turning into the NBA.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, where everything was let's keep it together, build chemistry, and then it's, you know what, fuck it, let's go for it.
I mean, it worked. It works. So can't argue.
Yeah, the Rams got their championship. That trade's completely worth it.
Agreed. So we'll see. That's pretty much everything for this week. We will see you guys next week. This episode is brought to you by the Swap. Swap is a online digital media company, also a community on Discord. So if you guys want, join the Discord in the description below. You guys can have the chance at winning NFTs on Twitter through the Swap. He's always running contests. He always posts them in that Discord, so you don't even have to turn on post notifications. You can just talk with the many, I believe now thousands of people inside this community. So go over to our friends at the Swap, as well as if you guys are booking a hotel, book through our friends at hotels.com. They've been very good to us. Well, you're going to be very good to them with locations all over the world. Hotels.com is definitely your go-to and will get you the best hotel for the best possible price. Also, shout out to Howlerhead. Howlerhead, a company owned by Dana White, UFC president. A banana whiskey that can be enjoyed on a cold glass or with your favorite cola. So go over to Howlerhead, find it at your local liquor store. Sorry, not gamble responsibly. Drink responsibly. If you guys are not over the age of 21, you guys should not be consuming. If you guys are betting, use BetMGM. MGM Resorts have your best lines that you guys can use to get paid quick and easy with sports gambling. If you guys have a gambling problem, go to 1-800-GAMBLER or go to your state's site to find out how you guys or one of your loved ones can get help. See you guys next week.